Jesus did not promise to keep us away from challenges, but he promised to see us through. I was not ready for the changes that would occur in my life as a result of my mother's job transfer. The transfer was from Embu to the Rakanibi County and would by default require me to transfer from the school I went to since it was a day school. After many consultations from within and without, my dear mother and I resolved for me to go to the famous Tenri School. Yes, at the time, Tenri Primary School, located in Majimbo, Embu County. The school offered boarding services, which I was very ready for, but it's also famous for its outstanding performance in national examinations. From time immemorial, the school produced top students nationwide, and it was every parent's will and desire to take them to such a school. However, in my honest opinion, I really think and believe that all parents, every Kenyan parent especially, should find out details about the school. They should know every nitty-gritty about a school before enrolling their child. They should not just be carried away by the school's performance. You and I know how a school plays a major role in a child's life. And with a Christian background, all I can say is, if one's life appears to be stable, but the spiritual life is shaky, then it's just but a matter of time before everything shatters. I joined the school in class 6 with an expectant heart, a happy mind, a happy soul. I was very eager to join a boarding school and experience life as a boarder for the first time. But I was absolutely not prepared for the rude shock that I met. I was no longer going to experience the home delicacies, the delicacies that my mother would make with so much love. The warm, cozy nights where would be tucked in sofa sets, covered with cozy blankets, watching Afro cinema continues shortly, would no longer be there. I wouldn't enjoy the tight embrace I'd receive every day after school from my younger sister. All this was replaced by cold nights, chilly night preps, the annoying sound of flipping pages, and even worse, the meddling teachers on duty who always felt like predators targeting us as the pupils as their prey. I remember one night prep, as we were having our personal revision, felt like some of my classmates were making noise and I decided to report them. Worst mistake I ever did. This was probably because I had a background of leadership as a class monitor in my previous school. And so all my classmates were called to the staff room as I sat back in class alone, shivering, oblivious of what would happen to them. And when they came back, their facial expressions was enough to tell me the kind of corporal punishment they had undergone. This marked the beginning of it all. I faced at most opposition, rejection, condemnation as a 12-year-old new student in the school. I was always judged for my outgoing character. My outspoken nature was always misjudged. The female students always sidelined me. The male students, they disliked me and they were loud enough to show it. Therefore, loneliness became the order of the day. The school at the time had a culture of speaking in one language on specific days. And if by any chance a pupil was heard or caught speaking in a different language, you'd be given a sack. A sack made into a cloth that was written Kiswahili speaker. Wearing that sack was quite shameful. I remember on one particular day, male pupils from different classes, including mine, came to my class, walked right to where I was seated, and scolded me. They accused me of speaking in Swahili, yet it was a day of speaking only English. I probably had spoken in Kiswahili, but the manner in which they came, it felt like an assault. It felt like an attack inspired by hatred. Remember, I was from a school where my outgoing character could not be hidden. I was like a city set on the hilltop. Yes, I was previously from Lyons Primary School located in Embu Town. The school honestly gave me the best childhood. You would not miss me in music festivals, reciting choral poems and solo verses. Asilani tokata. Na mchungaji mweusi. Makini Ken. You'd also not miss me once in a while in drama festivals singing Kamba folk songs. Tingelengele, tingelengele mutianina to win tingelengele. In football, I was always ready to represent my team, Team Victoria, as a defender. And not blowing my own trumpet, but I probably was the William Saliba of my time. And in academics, glory to God, I wasn't always the best, but at least I was content. My charismatic character also gave me an opportunity to lead as a class monitor. Never will I forget my last day at Lyons as a student. We had gone for a school trip to Meru County. And on coming back, my friend's dad, who was also my neighbor, escorted me back home. I cried my eyes out in the car, knowing the cherished moments would soon be just but memories. Now at Tenri, everything seemed different. The focus was majorly on academics. We hardly participated in co-curriculum activities. Even during break time, we'd still be busy trying to complete assignments. I was also exposed to a peculiar kind of entertainment. Well, I was used to entertainment, especially the Nollywood ones. But this entertainment, which would have once in a while on Saturday nights, was a movie. Well, a horror movie. A terrific horror movie. I'm telling you, the movies were insane. And after watching the movie, we'd have secular songs being played. I remember how boys would literally go crazy when they'd see vixens dancing in minimal clothing when the music video would be played. Henry also has quite a unique culture. I don't know why they don't put it in the open, but let me be the whistleblower. Every single day at 6 p.m., without fail, all boarders would be required to gather in a so-called church. We would recite Japanese songs, some 21 times, some 9 times, as we made hand gestures facing an altar. The altar had wooden carvings, and there was one unique wooden carving which had a mirror on it. There were also unique wooden musical instruments which the pupils would play, and we later on came to know that they were very expensive and they were imported from Japan. If you're a Christian and you probably think we were worshiping God, then I never heard the name Christ being mentioned. Instead, I heard the name Tendri. And I remember on a weekend, some of my classmates and I, we were about 5 girls. We stayed back in class as the rest of the students in school went to the so-called church. A female teacher found us in class, and she didn't meet us. She flogged us. I also remember in class 8, some of my classmates and I were working on assignments which were due, and we thought we had escaped it all until supper time came. A male teacher walked into the dining hall with a paper in hand. He read out our names. All who didn't attend the so-called church were called. We knelt in the dining hall and afterwards we headed to the staff room. You probably know what happened in the staff room. But after the incident where I was accused of speaking in Swahili, I was honestly fed up. The judgment and misjudgment was too much. I ran to the school's matron, crying, sobbing, weeping, and asked her to kindly call my parents. The school matron, however, comforted me and assured me that all would be well. And since she looked at me with the benevolence that would only come from a mother, I could not help but obey and believe her. And since then, I vowed to take up the challenge, to face my fears, to face the fears of rejection from my peers, fears of failure, and the fear of losing my own identity. I simply had to press on, dig deep, and fight it through. As Daniel did in Babylon, a city that worshipped false gods, I held on to my faith. Slowly by slowly, I adapted to the boarding system. At some point, my teacher made me the class prefect. Adapting to the boarding system was one thing, but facing one of my biggest life traumas was another. The only downside were my grades. They weren't satisfactory at all. However, a major change, a major transition took place the following year. But did I mention that the transition, the change came with trauma? If you've reached this far, thank you so much for watching. And please watch out for part 2 as I'll be explaining one of my life's biggest traumas that I experienced the following year. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Till next time, bye.